Bam, there we go. Hey, all right, we ready, we ready. Welcome, 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 welcome to Mission for Mental Health. I am your host, Jackie Robinson. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm so happy to be here. I tell you guys, like, it's something about every time, like, I have been dragging. Let me take these off so I can look at y'all. I have been dragging and dragging and dragging, right? But it's something about when I throw in that 30-second countdown, I just instantly get like energized, instantly get energized. And I guess because I'm so happy that God gave me this vision and this thing, like this show. I love doing it. I love coming on every week. Regardless if I'm tired or not. Y'all can't tell I'm tired because I got my Mary Kay on. Your girl skin is popping. Yes, she is. Look, she even gave y'all a little shoulder today. Look, she even gave y'all a little shoulder today. That's right. So, I get energized when I come on. So I'm thankful and I'm grateful for anyone who does come on and watch. And so I am so excited about today's show. Y'all know how I feel about healing is in the conversation. So we're gonna have us a conversation today. This young lady I got coming on today, she is a bomb. She is a bomb boss lady. She is a bomb boss lady with a whole entire story to tell. Because one thing I've learned through my mental health journey is that people are more receptive to you when you have a story to tell, when they can relate. It's all about being able to relate. So thanks to my sorority sister, Lanice, who was on last week, connected me with my guest tonight. And I'm so excited. So I'm going to bring her on. I'm going to share her bio. Her name is Demetria Winters. So hold on one second. I'm going to bring her on. Y'all get ready, get ready. And she a diva too, y'all. Favorite color is purple. She do. That's why we got all this purple today. It's for her. All right. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Okay. Here she comes. There she goes.
Oh,
Hey, girl. Hey, hey. Welcome,
hey.
welcome, welcome in. Welcome in.
Yes, I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having your platform. We need to have more conversations about this subject because we're
Yes.
losing too many people, um, not just through unaliving themselves, but we're losing families because of this issue. We're,
Oh, girl.
you know,
I know.
mm,
You know I know. You know I know. So I am going to introduce you to everyone and I'm going to read your bio. I got to put my handy dandy glasses back on so I can see. They say I got 20/20 vision, right? The folks say I got 20/20 vision, but I got to wear reading glasses. Oh, go figure. I don't know. So yeah, we already got folks getting ready to pop on. I'm so glad when people jump on and say hey. So hold on one second. And let me find my handy dandies, y'all. I told y'all she a diva. Only a diva come on your show with a hat on. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, she a diva. Divas wear hats. I ain't talking about baseball hats. Well, divas do wear baseball hats too. All right, so here we go. International World Woman Vision, Health, and Wellness nominee. Demetria Winters is a mental health advocate, author, entrepreneur, behavioral health nurse, and Army veteran. As a survivor of childhood trauma and diagnosed with major depression, she has set out to find a way to affect change in mental health and alleviate the stigma in the Black community. Because y'all, we know, everybody knows it's a
mm,
stigma. It's something. What happens in our house stays in the house. We ain't talking about that thing, right?
right.
Focusing on Black women like herself, she does seek to provide education, support with her courses, workshops, and books. She's also involved in political, economic, and clinical forums. That led to her founding Black Butterfly Queens. And we're going to make sure we talk about Black Butterfly Queens Life Coaching, LLC, for
Mm,
Black women seeking to overcome their mental health and emotional challenges and finding their purpose. Demetria helps these Black women devise self-care plans that include mindset training, conflict resolution, personal development, And with her 8 dimensions of wellness curriculum, loving to write as part of her own self-care, she decided to take that love to a new level and founded Purple Butterfly Goddess Publishing LLC. She became a first-time author with the collaboration project Woke Wake Up, winning number one. Hold on, let me make sure I get this right. Wake Up, winning no matter what. Wake up, winning no matter what. Wake up, winning no matter what. I love it. Volume 2, because losing is not an option. It definitely ain't. Her second book is a self published poetry collection with a 21-day guided journal called Winter's Prelude. So, y'all, please, if you can, take a moment, put some claps in the chat for my special guest, Miss Demetria Winters.
Thank you. Thank you.
Girl, you've done a lot.
I and I don't even feel like I've done a lot. I feel like I'm a late bloomer because I feel like I went through challenges with my mental health since I was a child. I just didn't recognize it. Never
Mm,
heard of it.
right,
Never heard of anyone else going through it,
right,
growing up
right.
in that community in my household.
Right, right. And when we talked before, I told you that this is truly a conversation. But, I have to ask that question. This show is, first off, let me thank you for coming on and even wanting to share with me. I'm so honored and thankful that you said yes to come on. Um, but what I want to know is how did mental health enter your life?
Whew. Mental health or mental illness rather entered my life at a very young age. Um, I was a bonus love child, so I was a secret. Um, yeah, we got a lot of that going on too. Every
We
time I talk,
do.
somebody's like, "Yeah, me too, girl."
Yes, that's a
Me
whole
too.
show in itself.
Yeah, me too, bro. So that because of course that takes away from a parent being there fully for you. And that is a form of trauma. Not only that, we left where we lived in Florida, moved all the way to Ohio, so that chain could be broken
Right.
and she could free herself. And unfortunately, we ended up in a household filled with domestic violence. And I do suspect that my stepfather had PTSD. He was in the
Mm,
and childhood trauma, lost his mom young,
right.
raised in a really big family. His dad did the best he could, but uh, he was a very little one. Um, and he ended up with alcoholism and being abusive. And my mom is a whole other story because I thought she was okay,
Right.
but I don't know because, like my daughter said, her picker was off. So she got herself into some shenanigans
Yeah.
when it needs a relationship. So you got to wonder, how her mental health is, her self
Right.
esteem is.
Self-esteem. Yeah. A lot of women, tend to go where it's comfortable, regardless if it's good or bad, and really not knowing the effect that it's going to have on the little people they bring into this world.
Right.
We all do it. We've all, a lot of people have done it.
Mhm.
No judgment or anything like that, but we tend to go where it's comfortable,
Right.
regardless if it's good or bad.
And
Right.
let me tag in on that word comfortable because I just had a conversation and I said, it's not necessarily comfortable, it's familiar.
Yes.
And there's comfort in familiarity
Absolutely.
versus true comfort, true security and peace of mind, right? Peace of heart.
Yep.
And the familiar is not always what it's cracked up to be.
It's not always the best.
Not
Right.
at all. I think that's why we keep having generational trauma.
Yeah.
People think of some of the obvious things, people getting hit, wounds, murder threats, blah, blah, blah. However, there are things going on behind closed doors that a lot of people don't recognize. Um, some kids act out. I acted in. And
What is acted in?
I acted in because I kept all of my emotions balled up inside,
Right.
and I presented as just a shy girl, a smart, nerdy, shy girl. Well, that's really not the true me. Yes, I'm nerdy, and I like my nerdiness. I didn't before, but I really am a talker. I really am a person that's social.
Right.
My social skills sucked back then because I was hiding that truth.
Yeah.
I didn't want to deal with it, and I didn't want anybody else to know about it.
Yeah.
So I slipped through the cracks because I was a good girl, not because, you know, oh, we saw some red flags and some signs. The first sign say they probably could have picked up on in school. I walked away from a 4-year scholarship to go into the army, and I wasn't even athletic. That didn't make sense.
So you went into the military to get away.
That was my way of running away. I would have a roof over
And
my
that
head.
was your young mind. That was your young mind making decisions. You
Exact,
know? Yeah.
exactly.
That was your
Yeah,
young mind making decisions.
right. And
How many years did you do in the military?
I did 4 active and I did 4 active reserve.
Okay.
So total of 8. Wish I would have done 20, but I didn't know, what I know now. So
Right.
now I try to mentor young people that I come across or in my life already and give them, the information that I wish somebody would have given me.
Yeah. Yeah. So moving forward, you're in the military, you do your couple years, you get out. And so at what point in your life did you say, you know what, I need to start dealing with what's really going, I'm really not a shy girl like people think I am.
Mhm.
I really want to be me. So at what point did you start developing Demetria?
So my trauma that I remember at least started at the age of 3. The light bulb didn't go off till I was 45 and I was ready to get off this planet. I wanted to get away from all the hurt and pain. And Veterans Day weekend, uh, almost 11 years ago, I was in crisis. And by the grace of God, something in me made me get in touch with the Veterans Suicide Hotline.
Mm,
Now, mind you, thank goodness I'm in the time I'm in now because I didn't really call. What I did was I sent a text because I didn't want to hear myself say those words. I didn't want to listen to it. Like I heard it in my head. I didn't want to hear my voice speak those words.
what words was that you didn't want to hear yourself speak?
Demetria, your life is not worth living. You're not doing anything to anybody, but you keep getting hurt. You were hurt when you were a child. You're hurt now. You keep having taking big L's, big losses, and it's not worth it. This pain is too much. And I had a plan A and a plan B of how I was going
Mm,
to go ahead and do that. And it's
right.
so interesting. One of my plans was to do something where I made sure that I didn't hurt anybody else physically while I was going to do this to myself.
Right.
That's
Right.
how interesting it is. So I was not willing to hurt somebody else physically or take them out, but I was willing to take me out. And I'm supposed to love myself
Yeah.
above everybody except God.
Did you have children at the time?
Yes. And my children, the thought of my children couldn't save me, even though I didn't know what I wanted to be while I was growing up. I didn't understand anything about my purpose, anything else, but I knew I wanted to be a mother. And my children, the thought of them couldn't keep me here.
Mm.
So it was a really rough time. Um, when I finally ended up in a hospital and I started learning what this was,
Right.
so many things started to make sense because I really felt like I was on autopilot or a zombie. I
Zombie
wasn't
not like outside watching yourself.
I wasn't fully engaged. People thought I was engaged. I wasn't engaged. I was so busy trying to block out the hurt that I blocked out a lot of good times as well. Like I don't
Right.
remember some good times
Mm.
because I was trying not to think too much about everything that had happened or could happen because
Right.
I was worrying, about everything.
Right. Mm. So you said that you reached out to the veterans
Hmm.
crisis line.
Yes. Hmm.
How did you know about that? Is that something that they taught you all while you were there, or like what made you feel comfortable to reach out there? I know some people feel like kind of like being in law enforcement, I don't really want to say XYZ because I don't want them judging me or fooling with me or me thinking I'm weak or
Right.
anything like that. What made you choose that entity? Had you seen it work for other people, or what made
Not
you choose that entity?
Google, Google. And I'm like, I'm a vet. Okay, let me try this. That's it. But people shouldn't have to, people like me and some of the rest of us that have been through crisis or seen our families and stuff go through crisis, we shouldn't have to rely on happenstance that I might happen to come upon what I need to get me to, to the place I need and the
Right,
help I need.
right,
So we need to talk about it. We need to find out what our rights are. We need to find out what our resources are, and we need to recover. And it's not impossible, and is not necessarily too late. But waiting a long time is a big deal. So they've already proven the earlier you get support,
say that
the
again.
the earlier you get therapy. And I say it like this. So I'm a nurse. When we rate somebody's pain level, what we're doing is we're trying to figure out what's going to work to help them get more comfortable or pain free.
Right.
So we know as nurses, say the 0 to 10 scale, zero
Yeah.
being no pain, 10 being the worst
Yeah.
imaginable, that if a person goes above a certain level, a high level, is harder to get it back under control. You got to have more medicine, more intervention, more posture changes, and all of that. But
Yep.
if you catch it when it's a level maybe 5 or below, you can knock that
You can
thing
knock it
out.
out. You can get it under
I
control.
think that it's the same with trauma. The more you let that trauma just fester and linger, the harder it is that you'll find trying to get it under control.
Correct. 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 So after you went into treatment and at that time, did you realize, okay, I'm given a diagnosis, I'm ready to go ahead and work with it? Or were you like, I don't believe nothing that y'all talking about? This was just a brief little moment in time for me. I'm Gucci now. I'm great. I'm going back to my regular life.
I actually was receptive to a certain extent. Well, I was curious because I'm a curious kind of woman.
Right.
I love to learn. I am very interested in definition and what does this mean and how are things connected. So that is something that I held on to. I never heard the word trigger before.
Mm.
And a lot of people, they're like, trigger. Okay, there are only two things that come to mind when you think of trigger. And one of them is
Yeah,
pulling a.
done. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a quick reaction that can't be taken back. Well, a trigger is when something bothers you so much that it sets you off, whether it's like anger, withdrawing, or something like that. And a lot of times it's because of whatever, you know, in deep memories you have of the trauma you've been through. You may not speak it, but your body gonna tell on you every time. Your emotions and your mental are gonna tell on you every time. You think you're overcoming that trauma? Mm, you might want to look at the fact that you can't hold a relationship together and think about your trauma and how that has affected how you communicate or don't communicate with your significant other.
Right.
You might want to think about how much do you really drink? Anytime you're doing anything to hurt yourself or others, then you should question that. You should question that for real.
Right. Right.
And so they taught us about triggers, they taught us about coping skills, stress management, all of that. And I listened and I thought to myself, what are my triggers?
What are
And
my
I
triggers?
said,
Yeah.
well, at the very least, let me think about the top three. So the nerd that I am, I'm thinking of the top three. Okay, I picked out these triggers. So where did these triggers come from? One of my big triggers is feeling like somebody's trying to control me or bully me. Well, my stepfather was
Yeah.
an abusive man. So that
Right.
makes sense, right? That
Makes
connects the
sense.
dot. A sense of rejection or abandonment. My daddy. Because when my mama moved and she didn't want to deal with a bitty boy, then we disappeared to him and feeling overwhelmed. And I feel like feeling overwhelmed has to do with, even though, as you can see, I don't mind speaking, I didn't want any attention at one time because some of the attention I got was foul, it was
Right.
perverse. So feeling overwhelmed. Um, and then I thought about, okay, I know what it is, I know where the origin is, and that helped me develop my specific coping skills that work for Demetria.
Right.
I
Right.
am much better at coping because I looked at the problem for real and was honest about it. And then I had to devise a plan. How am I going to handle this? But it took a range of years to kind of get here, because
Right.
I was also going through a separation with my ex. He had childhood trauma and had to deal with some things. I had childhood trauma, and look, trauma bonding, it's familiar.
Right.
And so going through all these changes, dealing with wasn't dealt with in the past, it took me a minute to really get to a point where I'm not afraid to speak up anymore. I will name my molesters. I will name what happened in that household. I remember I started doing something called a walk and talk with Coach D. So I would walk and I would do a live at the same time, and I would talk about
Yeah.
mental health and emotions and everything.
Right.
And so one time I said, you know, I remember not wanting to speak, holding back. And I said, I'm tired of that. I'm telling everything,
Right. Right.
everything. And just found where they may. I am not the perpetrator. I'm the person that the perpetrator took advantage of. Why
Correct.
am I carrying that burden with me? Why am I carrying a burden like I'm the guilty one? Like
Like you
I'm
did something wrong. Right. Right. So let's move into your businesses and your books and all that good stuff that you got going on.
Yes.
So we're moving. You've learned how to identify your triggers. You've learned to put a toolbox together for yourself to
Yes.
help you heal. And so now you felt what? I'm ready to heal other people.
Yes.
How did
And
all this come about? What? Because this what we do right here isn't for everybody. People go through their things and they're like, hey, this is me, this is my life, I'm going through my stuff,
Mhm.
but I don't want to share all my stuff with the world, and
Right.
I don't want to, I'm not trying to help nobody. Me,
Right.
not that they're selfish or anything like that, but this is not everyone's journey. This walk right here is not everyone's walk.
It's
And
survival, it's self-preservation, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that we all have a purpose, and my purpose is to tell everything and discuss it.
right,
Um, I do love that I am an empathetic person.
right,
I can even have empathy for my stepfather. That's why I know
mm,
where some of his trauma was, you know? And it's, people always say excuses, excuse. No, it's not excuses. I'm learning so that I can know what I need to do to avoid being that way.
yeah,
And stuff looks all good on the outside. I'm so sick of people. Oh, look at all the money they have. Look at all the women they have. Look at all the men they have. Look at their status. If that mattered, we wouldn't have lost DMX, Robin Williams. We wouldn't have lost our little, was she Miss America? I can't remember. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah.
But
Hmm.
we wouldn't lose people like that, because if you look on the outside, then things looked okay.
They did,
Yeah.
they did, and you looking like even Twitch. I mean, you're on a syndicated show, as doing what you love, which is dancing.
Mhm. But you see
All these videos that we
what
watching.
people were doing though? The Black community especially has a bad problem about having conspiracy theories with no proof of the conspiracy, just conjecture, but you don't know the full story. And not only that, not saying po- that's not possible. However, do they realize the damage they do to the people who really are wanting to unalive themselves by um invalidating it,
Yeah,
invalidating those feelings? I've had people say, I'm not weak, and so they wouldn't have, been in my position. And one time I was mad at my children, and I went on off on all of them, and I said, let me tell you something. Y'all really don't give me enough credit. I said, I'm strong. I said, do you know how strong you have to be to call for help when you want to unalive yourself? I
yeah.
said, when I went into the hospital, I saw people with bloodshot eyes, marks on their neck, marks on their arms. I had nothing, no scars on the outside. You cannot say somebody's weak or strong based on what they do in a moment of pain.
Correct.
That moment of pain, a lot of times, is from a lifetime of stuff that they kept pushing on. Oh,
Mhm.
it'll be okay. Oh, I'm fine. Oh, I have this. Oh, look at me. Yeah.
A
Okay.
lifetime of boxed in trauma that they just, and it just takes one incident. Like, I always feel like everyone on this earth to me is one trigger away from just losing it. It
Exactly.
can take, I mean, we can be as resilient as we want to be. I mean,
Mm,
but we're not designed to just take in so much stuff, right? I
exactly.
mean,
There has to be some kind of relief and
yes, it's like a
release.
balloon. You just keep blowing it and blowing it and blowing it, and then
But
finally,
it's
boom.
exactly, and that's what we do. And it's not about race.
No, we
It's
all go through it.
it's not about your weight. whether you're thin, you're small, you're big. It is not about gender or, gender identity or any of that. Because we're all human. Our body is meant to try to be in harmony and balance. And when you have imbalances happen in your life, that I was saying in another in another group that I was talking to, and I was saying, you don't just nurture positivity and progress, you can nurture negativity.
You can.
So,
You can.
and then think about it. I'm a soldier. I was trained to do certain things a certain way. I was trained and trained and trained so that it came automatically to me. I knew what to do in certain moments.
Right.
So, doesn't it make sense that if you were trained to be a certain way based on how you were raised in a household with somebody on drugs, somebody beating people up, and all of that, that you have now been trained to be a certain way and to cope or lack of coping a certain way. Some people cope by substance because they're trying to take away that pain with the substance, or
Right.
that's what saw happening, or they continue the actions that somebody committed against their loved one.
Right.
They're still doing that,
Right.
and generation after generation and after generation. And they
Hmm.
wonder why we have, I believe that some of our health disparities have a lot to do with not just the racism in the system, in the medical system, mental health system, but also because of our unhealed trauma, because there is a link between trauma and chronic medical issues,
Mm.
diabetes.
Right.
It's not just because your family got diabetes because of their biology. Some of
Yeah.
us have diabetes because our body reacts a certain way, and our sugars and our insulin and all of that change with certain types of stress.
Correct.
If you're always stressed, then it's hard to turn that off.
It is. It is. Stress will kill you. And
Mhm.
that's a true fact. Stress will
Yeah.
kill you. Um yeah, stress will kill you.
Mhm.
So let's talk about BBQ life coaching. What is BBQ life coaching about? How did it start? When did it start? What made you start it? And what does it stand for?
Okay. So I'm an interesting character, right? So I have dreams, and I dreamed about butterflies just, flying up to the sky off this bush. But anyway, I love butterflies because of the transformation factor, because
Correct.
of going through this change that's full of pain and, just this process, right? And then what you get at the end is a butterfly, which is free. Because if you notice, do you see a flight pattern necessarily with
It's
butterflies?
free, it's free, and
It-
it's beautiful.
exactly. In fact, I co-wrote a song called Butterflies, and kind of based on that. And so I have this thing about purple that's always been my favorite color, which I was
Color of
ashamed of,
royalty.
but I didn't even realize that. And everybody else kept saying when their teacher would ask, they would always have primary colors. And I was like, shoot, purple. Okay, I like blue. And then I kind of grew into, girl, if it's your color, it's your color. And it's my birthstone, amethyst. But so I love butterflies. I love uh purple. That's where the publishing name came from, Purple Butterfly. Um PBG, Purple Butterfly Goddess. And the goddess is because my name, Demetria, is actually the derivative of a Greek goddess, the Greek goddess that was the reason for the seasons, Demeter.
Demeter.
Uh,
Mhm.
and it's interesting. I never thought too deeply about the story, but actually, the seasons changed because she was depressed because her daughter had been kidnapped.
Oh,
I was like, oh. I was like, hold on. I was like, okay, that's interesting. So BBQ is Black Butterfly Queens. Because I got tired of hearing Black women call each other the other B word,
Right.
hoes, because you can't say it's just men, it's women too.
Yeah.
Girl, you said a hoe, ha, 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 and it's a giggle. No, queen, sister, goddess, let's speak life.
Right.
Let's live life.
Yeah.
And it started off as an idea of having a life coaching business. I got some little certification. I was already a nurse, and it
Mhm.
started building until, now it's basically a life health and wellness coaching, because I take my experience as a women's services nurse, as well as now a psychiatric nurse. See, I went from being a patient to being
But
yeah,
you're probably one of the best because you have personal experiences. It's something about relating to someone that gets it. It's something about being able to have someone who's going to help you heal, who gets it, not someone who just
right.
learned it in school, and not to say that people that went to school that they can't teach you anything or help you in any kind of
Yeah.
way, but you feel more comfortable, even if I know you're not going around sharing your story with all of your patients or your clients or anything, but
Yes, I do.
oh, so then they really get
But
it.
I'm,
But
but I'm,
you just feel
but
comfortable when you
I
know.
it depends on who it is, and it depends on the situation at hand. And I do share to a certain extent, because I'm
Right.
like, I tell them I'm not just talking from what I heard, I'm talking about what I know. And I said, ask me the last time I've been in a hospital like this. They say, how long? I said 10 years. I said, so you can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
And so I take my, and I have a tendency to say, I have a personal, I use a personal view with a professional eye, because I mix my experience, how I feel, how I process, and I've always been good at teaching. I'm surprised. See, I probably would have been a principal, teacher, something,
Mhm.
in another life without trauma. Because when I was in school, remember I said I had a scholarship, so I did really well. Well, when my classmates didn't understand the teacher, they would ask me, and for some reason they would understand what I said. I They understood how I broke it down,
Right.
and I use that as well. I don't just look at a person for face value. I really pay attention to what you're saying, your how you're looking, like your demeanor. I pay attention to, does your eyes light up when you talk about certain things?
Right.
How do you sit? Do you sit relaxed when you talk about your kids? I pay attention to a lot of things, and I love putting pieces of a puzzle together and trying to come out with that big picture
Right.
and a solution.
Right. Coming up with their own toolbox. So
Exactly.
helping them
And
identify what their triggers are and then
I,
creating a toolbox for them. Are you on the holistic side of the healing or the
I consider myself a hybrid,
uh-huh.
because I can see the benefits of holistic care. I actually intertwine, even when they left the nurses alone to their own devices. I was the bomb, because I was using stuff, and thinking about, okay, what does this medicine do for the person? What's the natural version of doing it? And then you have people that don't want to do medicine. I don't have a
Yeah.
problem with that per se, but it's interesting when people say, "Oh, I can't stand medicine. I don't want any medicine. I'm going to do it naturally." But then they never do anything. So what's natural? What did you
Right.
do? What did you actually do? What
Right.
step did you take? Did you look up certain, certain roots or certain foods and see how they affect your mood and all of that?
Correct.
Because
Correct.
a lot of people don't do that. They say natural, but then they don't do nothing. They just,
Right. Or they try to use, street meds or whatever, but you don't know, you
yeah.
know, what's
So
in
that's
that.
don't you think that's weird though? Oh,
What's that?
I don't want no medicine. They trying to poison me. But then you go get some street drugs. You don't know them people like that either.
Right. You
That's
don't know the
really
dealer.
you don't
You
know
don't know
your
where the dealer got the dope from.
exactly, and you don't know if they laced it
You don't know. You
or
just
what they
hoping they know. They're hoping they didn't, but you don't. You
and
don't know.
I I know this sounds weird of me to say, but at least if a doctor give you the wrong thing, they can prosecute them, and your family will be sad if you hurt. I
Right.
mean, but you really have to work for your own best interests. And if something is not in your best interest, it's gonna show. You're gonna feel it. At some point, you have to dig deep. And if you don't know how to do it, then you need to find somebody who can help point you in the right direction, get you
Right.
to that first step. And then you go ahead. The military taught us how to use maps, then they said go.
Yeah. And just like on any job, they teach you what they want you to do for them daily, and then you go for broke. Nobody's standing behind you every day showing you how to do it. So then
Exactly.
you
And
go for broke.
that's really not what coaching is to me. Coaching is just pointing out the tools to you, telling you what things to be aware of, and
Right.
then help you make an educated decision about how you want to handle your health,
Yeah.
especially your mental. For me, especially trauma recovery from me, there's
Right.
actually a test that people can take called ACE trauma test score or testing, right?
Like ACE, like ACE.
ACE, adverse childhood experiences. And if
Mm-hmm.
anybody scores a 4 and higher, they're more likely to have certain illnesses, addictions, and stuff like that.
Mm.
If you go to my site, bbqlifecoach.com, my daughter and I, we have a interesting way of doing the scores, and you could play along with this. She suggested, because also do we have a nonprofit that focuses on the kids. My business focuses on adults because
Okay.
that stuff does not go away. But we play Never Have I Ever. And so we're sitting there and she's naming the different things that you look out for that ACE score. So if you go to my website and you go to it's on the first part of the home page. I have uh find out about ACE button. You can click, it'll show you it'll tell you about it. It'll go take you to
Right.
cdc.gov and tell you statistics. And then the other button says find your score, and you see us doing that. Never have I ever. And um I look like I'm about to cry when I'm doing that, because I was like, oh my gosh, wow, poor little baby me. And I was a happy baby too. My mama said I was always giggling, easy to laugh, loved everybody.
Yeah. A lot of us start off that way.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then, life happens, and also we bring in life, and then they start experiencing some of our traumas too, because they don't give us a handbook when it comes to raising kids. I'm glad that we are starting to get to a point now where we have platforms like this. We have, life coaching like you have, and we are starting to talk more, and more athletes are talking about it more. Politicians are talking about it more. It's not, the stigma's not gone, but people are actually starting to acknowledge that, okay, so mental health doesn't just mean somebody's crazy. You mean all of us can have, something going on. All of us have mental health. Yeah, we all have mental health. Let's just call a spade a spade. Hell, yeah, everyone has mental health. Yes, everyone does have mental health. And so I'm glad that we're starting to talk about it more, because that gives, like, only one of my, I have 5 kids, but only one of my 5 has a child. And so the rest of them get an opportunity to get it right. Not that the oldest one ain't getting it right, because he's doing a great job. But what I'm saying is they have the opportunity to understand, okay, I'm feeling some kind of way. I'm in my feelings right now. And I need to find my tool to help me get past me being in my feelings right now. And then when they have children, they're able to teach their children how to have work with their toolbox. So you can stop these generational curses that we put on ourselves and put on our children and things like that. So the next generation gets an opportunity. It's just the fact of, you got to do it.
Right. And somebody has to be the one to be open and honest about what it is and what is done to them and their family and their loved ones. I don't hold a grudge against my ex-husband. He just chose a different route as far as taking care of his pain. Um I actually don't fault my stepfather because he took a different route as far as his pain. And so when I acknowledge that and I don't sit in it and just, like, woe is me, but I try to figure out, well, if if he had maybe some different things go on in his life, even though his mama could have still passed, and or people would have recognized that, oh, this is not good.
Right.
He's maybe not going in the way he should be going. We keep saying this generation is uh what we get from what we gave. If
What
you
you
don't
mean?
heal, what you think the children gonna look like, do?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Come on now.
And
If
and
you
thi- it, in
pain,
this generation, we kind of messed them up a little bit too, because we did too much for them.
not only did we do too much, see, because in some cases people overcompensate and some people repeat the pattern. And some
Along
people
with some
disappear.
overcompensating. Yeah,
And some
feeling
people
guilty. Yeah.
disappear.
Yeah.
So all that the gen all it is with these children is it's our messed up selves, our unhealed trauma coming home to roost, and our grandmas and our granddaddies, and and then not to mention the trauma that the Black community had, that is that is rooted in this country through slavery. Sometimes our parents
Yeah.
and grandparents and everybody behaved a certain way
Yep.
because the saying the wrong thing could get you killed.
Yeah.
I mean, just minding your business walking down the street could get you killed. So they were on eggshells. They couldn't let
Yeah.
loose, really. You know, I had an uncle that was like Emmett Till, that
Mm-hmm.
had where he was 14 and somebody decided he wasn't, he didn't need to continue on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
An uncle, not a great great grandpappy, an uncle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all this trauma, at some point, you have to take ownership of figuring it out, because your healing is not even the doctor's business, really. The doctor is just there to give you information and give you some tools to possibly use. You choose which tool's gonna work for you, what path is gonna work for you. And
And so is that what the coaching is that what the coaching is for?
mhm,
To, so you can assist them with, okay, we found some tools, but
mm,
addressing when these tools aren't working, And so we're going to walk you through some new tools, just like with um, high blood pressure medication, right? So I remember when it was, I use me for an example. I remember when I first was diagnosed with having high blood pressure. I was like, okay, it's in the family, no biggie, but I don't need no medication. I'm good on this medication. And then I started to get real sick. Like I would have these horrible headaches, eyes were red. I was feeling bad. And then I go in, and the first thing they do is put the little cup on your arm, take your blood pressure. Blood pressure sky high. They're talking about, girl, you're gonna have a stroke. Look, you ain't gonna be cute, with half your side not working, is diva acting as you are. So we're gonna give you this medication again, and we want you to take it. Okay. So they give me the first medication, amlodipine. I'm peeing all over the place. I don't like the amlodipine. So I go back and I said, lady, I don't like this medication. It don't work for me in my schedule. It makes me use the bathroom all the time. So she gives me another one, uh, lisinopril. Lisinopril has a. It didn't affect me wrong, but it affected my mama wrong. My mama coughing all day like she's smoking Newports all day long or something crazy. And my mama don't smoke. The lady's 86 years old. She don't smoke, but she got this cough like she's smoking Newports or Pall Malls or whatever you call them, Cools. She's coughing like she. Come to find out, blood pressure medication. So if it ain't good for my mama, I don't want it either. So now I get a new one. Finally, get one that works for me. So it's the same concept.
Yes.
And people would treat it like I didn't give up. I was like, when the lady told me I was gonna have a stroke and I wasn't gonna be cute after the stroke, I said, I'm gonna take the blood pressure medicine. You won. I'm
Right.
taking I might not eat right, lose weight, and all that other good stuff you're trying to tell me to do, but I will take that little pill.
Take
So
that. Exactly.
but I
And
did it
like
until I found the right one. So the
you are
same
so
thing, right?
on point. You are so on point. Exactly. I'm not trying to tell people what to do with their life. I'm trying to tell them there's a better way to figure out the solution for yourself. And if you need help and guidance, then I mean, you can come to your girl, you could go to somebody else, but I'm tell you, I tell you, I pick stuff apart. And even when you say certain stuff to me, I'm like, well, it sounds like you have a gift in this area. Why don't you do that? Oh no. Why not? Oh, you willing to try all this other stuff that you don't have no clue about when they train you for a job because you want that so many dollars per hour. You don't
Right,
necessarily like it, but you like what you get out of
right.
it. So if you start off evident, you kind of like whatever your gift is. I tell you this, say for me, instance, remember I said I worked in women health services for a while, women and infant services. I worked in it for most of my nursing career. You would think that I would be happy working around babies, new babies and stuff, right? But just like any other work area, it can be a little toxic, and that's not good for my mental health. And now around the time of COVID is when I changed and pivoted, right? That's another
Mm,
metamorphosis for me, another transformation. I'm like getting depressed and everything, and I just happen to still have uh benefits so that I can have a therapist. And I loved her. She looked like me. She understood. I didn't have to
right,
tell her about my hair, my skin, because she knew where I was coming from. So I
right.
didn't have to over explain. So she said, I understand, Demetria, you don't want to go to work. You're feeling really stressed out at the job. But do me a favor, put in some applications so you won't be stressed about money because you don't have any money coming in. And so that led me to psychiatric nursing. I don't even remember applying for this job. But the first psychiatric job I had, it was a traveling assignment. I didn't really care for that one. I cut that contract short. Anyway. And then the one I have now, that's my full-time job, it is tough. You don't know what's going to happen from 1 minute to the next. But I like it. I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is something wrong with me? I go in there. You don't know if you're going to get hit, spit at, cussed
Poop.
out,
Look, poop thrown at you.
all of that. You don't know. But I feel like I'm on purpose. I'm
Feel
in
like
my
you doing.
purpose.
That's why you like it.
I I I get it. I get where a lot of people are coming from. Some people don't know some people's stories, so they assume
Mm,
everything
mm,
about what this person should be doing and shouldn't be doing, and they
mhm.
don't even know the full story. First
Right.
of all,
Oops.
even if people do share with you, one thing that we have got to stop doing is invalidating what the person is saying, because sometimes they're trying to confide in you what where they're coming from, how they're hurting. I remember reading, looking at news stories and reading about DMX and him passing, right? And I was like, I wrote an article and said, well, not an article, it was Facebook, but I felt like it was article worthy. And I was talking about how he reminded me of myself and my siblings because he went through a lot of the traumas that we did. And they said he had a kind heart. He was very giving. He would pray over people.
He did. Yeah.
But that trauma was not healed,
Yeah.
and it took him out eventually. Remember, I said I started at 3. I know I was depressed probably since the age of 3. It didn't come. The straw that broke the camel back was 42 years later.
Mm.
That trauma doesn't go away. It's going to tell on you one way or another.
Right. Right. And so, what you gonna do about it is the question.
Mm-hmm.
What you gonna do about it?
What are you going to do about it? What
What
tools
kind?
are you going to come up with?
Mhm.
What support? And support is important too. They've proven that support is very, very important for recovery.
Um, it's hard to recover when people don't support you in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
When they think you wasted, it's some. I don't want to hear about that foolishness that you're doing. I
Yeah,
don't want to hear that crap because
right.
some people think you're trying to make them do what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got to do what I'm doing. This is just I'm just telling you what's working for me.
Mm-hmm.
It may work for you. You do you,
Right.
but
And yeah, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, but you do yourself a disservice. You don't give yourself any grace by not even exploring the possibilities of different avenues. Even if you don't like the medicine that doctor is suggesting, look at an educational pamphlet where it tells you about the benefits, the side effects, the reactions. Look at it, compare it to others. Don't just say, oh, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Well, you know what, a lot of medicine you have to have several doses, kind of build, or your body's getting used to working a certain way because you're
right,
taking regular doses. So if you take 2 pills and decide it doesn't work, that usually doesn't make sense.
right, and
And
usually don't work.
take time. Pills take time to kick in, but they have a longer lasting effect. Stuff like IV stuff, shot stuff, liquid, it works quick, but it doesn't last long. So don't get hooked into that. Oh, just give me a shot. That shot is not going to hold you. Just like a diabetic, right? If you have a low blood sugar and you eat something that's just simple carb, like something sweet, just to get back up, that carb is not going to last you. You're going to need some fat or protein or something to maintain. So you need to maintain, you need some maintenance. So in between your doctor's visits, before you figure out which doctor you want to go to, you want to explore, you still need a plan of finding somebody who can, help you troubleshoot, bounce, go ahead and tell them your questions, and then they tell you, well, I can't really answer this, but I can point you in the right direction so
Right.
that you can do your research
Right.
properly, and
Right.
not you. If, like my daughter told me, if you're going to a .com, they usually try to sell you something. But if you go to like a .gov or something like that, then it's probably legit, or
Y'all
shit.
heard that? If y'all fooling with .com, might be a
And
hustle.
it is not legitimate. Like,
Go to .gov, you might be straight.
I'm sorry, because I'm heavy, but I have diabetes, and I use but now I got one of the medicines for my diabetes, so it is coming down. But anyway, that's like a heavy set person trying to tell somebody how to lose weight, or somebody who's had 5 or 6 marriages trying to tell somebody how to hold on to a relationship.
Yeah.
Somebody that's bitter trying to tell you why your relationship is not good, but they bitter about their own, and I think they need to work on, I don't know.
Girl, I appreciated you. I really appreciated you for coming on. It is 9 o'clock. I try not to hold people past the hour,
Yeah.
but I appreciate you and your insight and your knowledge and your toolbox and your experience. And I hope next year, I know I missed all the events last weekend that you
Yeah.
had. That whole, you want to run it down right quick what you had? Share with
uh
everybody what you had.
so I'm a girl that is really into seasons. Not only, like I said, my first name is symbolic, but my last name is actually Winters. And I believe, yes, you go through seasons, you go through storms, and you have to handle yourself. So I wanted to do some kind of self-care event for people where they can come and they can get some TLC. So I said, "Oh, I want to do it every season. I'm gonna do a summer, winter, spring, fall." And so my first ever seasonal self-care retreat was the first weekend of spring, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And we had to pivot, we had to shuck and jump, and but it still did what it needed to do. We brought people together who needed some TLC. We brought um, makeup tutorial by celebrity makeup artist Tony Styles, and he also did um skincare.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of some of the issues that some of the ladies had, like someone is a cancer survivor, and I didn't know it changed the skin tone, and
Yes, yes.
they had to watch out about what types of makeup and all this stuff. And he taught us about that sort of thing, as some people had, like MS or lupus. We brought him to the building. We brought Paint by Design to the building for a paint and sip in the building. We brought two masseuse, a massage for me, Mr. Joseph Smith. And there were some people who cried because of the release that they had during the massage.
Yeah.
Yeah, uh, you know, tacos and tequila,
I'll wait. Do you say mine now? Say my favorite part.
game night, and my eldest daughter was the hostess with the mostest. She has a great sense of humor. She had us cracking up. Um, and then that next day is when we had like our there were some other things that I wanted to do, but we did enough. We did enough, and we slept comfortably. We fellowshipped. We had entertainment. um Tierra Lattimore, one of my little babies out of Sparta, Georgia. When I tell you that voice is, woo, Child. And she's saying break every chain because I asked her to.
Yeah.
I wanted her to tackle Whitney. I didn't know my own strength, but she said she don't want to tackle Whitney.
Yeah.
But it actually turned out really good. First, my
That's good.
daughter, who is the event planner, Rachel Fletcher, she has Rachel as a remote. She actually said, "Mommy, just do one big event and just do it during a different season." Then once it turned out so amazing, she was like, "Nah, we got to do a summer retreat."
Yeah.
So we're going to Orlando in June for
Good.
another retreat. And so I cannot say that I have everything you need, but I'm definitely going to try my best to point you in the right direction
Correct.
because everybody deserves a chance to heal.
Yes. Yes. All you need is the tools.
Hmm.
All you need is for someone someone who's willing to teach you what you don't already know. Some
Exactly.
of what you already know.
Right.
How to use it and stick by you through the process.
Exactly.
That's
How
it.
to process it in your own mind, your own heart, your own gut. Because if you feel uneasy, then you pivot, you
Yeah.
adapt.
That was the word of the pandemic, right? Pivot. We all should know that word now. Pivot.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I appreciate you, girl. I do appreciate you for coming on. Um, you are a blessing. I really believe that God don't make mistakes when he sends people my way. And he sent some amazing people my way, and you are definitely one of them. So I thank you for giving me an hour of your busy schedule because I know your schedule is tight. So I do appreciate you giving me an hour of your busy schedule. So y'all, please give Miss Demetria Winters some claps in the chat. I appreciate her giving me her time. You know, if you want to connect with her, you can follow her on all of her social medias. I had it going throughout the show, so if you missed it, you can always come back through and grab all of her information. She is on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. She's on every platform that you can find.
Right.
And she is under, I want to say it's called BB Life Coach. BB Life
BBQ,
Coach.
BBQ life coach.
BBQ,
Um,
BBQ Life
on
Coach.
on Facebook, I actually have a private Facebook group for Black women so we can have a positive space without all the negativity. We don't do that. We don't bash men, we don't bash each other, and we have positive interaction. It's called Black Butterfly Queens. And I have a page, Black Butterfly Queens Life Coaching, which is open to the public. And I share like different articles and stuff like that so people can see resources. And of course, everything's kind of connected. I got TikTok too. So
Uh, I'm still trying to figure that TikTok thing out, boy. Everybody keeps saying you need to start putting your stuff on TikTok. You need to start putting your stuff on TikTok.
it's
That's
fun.
where everybody's at, and I'm like, Lord have mercy. I can't keep up with all y'all. I can't keep up with everybody. I need
It's
y'all to stay in one spot.
it's fun. Oh, the kids say Facebook is for old people.
Old
So
people, and that's me. That's where I like to be with old people. But I'm trying. I'm trying. All right, y'all. Well, I do appreciate you guys. So don't forget, please follow the rules, the housekeeping rules that we have. Please subscribe, like, and share. Y'all know I'm trying to grow this thing. I want to have like as many followers as I can possibly get because it's not necessarily a money thing for me. It is a reach out to people thing for me.
right.
But if I do make a dollar or two in the process, I ain't gonna be mad. But it's I want to get the word out. I want the people to know that this is a safe space for you to come and share and where people can learn and grow. I believe healing is in the conversation. So we have to have the conversations in order for the people to heal. Make sure that you follow me on my social media. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook at Mission for Mental Health. And those of you that have my personal stuff, that thing is wide open. You can jump on there too. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I do appreciate you guys for giving me an hour of your hour and 10 minutes of your time tonight. Demetria, if you could stand by, I'm getting ready to end the show. I will see you all not next week, but the following week. Next week, I'll try y'all to jump on and give y'all a little something, something, something. But the poodles are going to Myrtle Beach, y'all. The poodles will be in Myrtle Beach. So all air when you see Myrtle Beach saturated with blue and gold, then you know why, because the poodles have landed in Myrtle Beach. So I will be preparing to go to my first Southeast Regional Conference next week. So I will not possibly, I will try, but I don't know. It depends on how this packing comes along, or whether or not I'm able to do a show or not next Wednesday. But I will be back the following week. I have an awesome guest for you, Dr. Sherman. You're going to love her. She is going to talk about tapping. I forgot the whole name of it, but it is a technique to use that she uses with people who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, stress period. It's a nice, simple technique to use to heal when you're going through things. And I'm excited to have her because y'all, you know, I need all the tools I can get. So, hey, I love you guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next week. And I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.